And today's class is entitled The Etherians. Who or what are these ontological forces of natural nature? Before we begin, I'd just like to say this. We in Wu-Sabat, and the teachers of the Master Teacher, we tend to use words, terminologies, and concepts that is really not familiar with the with mainstream. So the reason why we do this is with the intent of expanding our consciousness and knowledge so that we can receive and absorb more transcendent concepts. So I'd like to read to you all an excerpt coming from an old scroll that the Master Teacher put out called The Science of Creation. I'd just like to read an excerpt based upon what I just explained about our use of certain words, terminologies, and concepts. And it reads, this is from The Science of Creation, page 4, from the Master Teacher, Baba Yananan. Understanding the English word creation is an important step in understanding everything in your universe, including the composure of your universe. The same thing happens in Arabic Hebrew and the Syriac Arabic, just as it happened in English with the word creation. There are some things in your universe that are beyond your comprehension because your definitions, your interpretations, your explanations are all within your circles of time. Everything keeps leading back to your definition of some movie you were shown. When I try to tell you things, I have to relate everything to what you know according to your definitions. You are in a vacuum of laws. You are in a vacuum of time. You all are in a vacuum of space. You all are in a vacuum of information. Just like when using the English language, take a word, any word, when trying to understand what you will call a foreign language. You try to associate the definition that is set by English standards or whatever language you speak. For example, in Wu-Sabat, we may have a particular word for saying a particular thing, and rather than accept in Wu-Sabat, in our tongue or in a Lahag language, Mispatia, we would say this word is such and such. We try to create an association with English or be with Arabic or Hebrew or with any other language that we are familiar with, rather than acknowledge that in our language we say Rahubat, and within Rahubat it has, it's not just greetings, it has a deeper meaning or deeper significance in how we greet another individual. That's what he's saying here. Just like when using the English language, take a word, any word, when trying to understand what you would call a foreign language. You try to associate the definition that is set by English standards or whatever language you speak. Your information is limited. Your space is limited. And your time is limited. You are trapped within a vacuum where everything must be defined in the category of person, place, or thing. You can't even think of a number greater than the number 9. What I'm saying here is that there are numbers greater than the number 9. There is information greater than what we've been taught, which we call outformation. There is infinite space, and space is not finite. Time is infinite, not finite. As it says it here, your information is limited, your space is limited, your time is limited. You are trapped within a vacuum where everything must be defined in the category of person, places, or thing. You can't think of a number greater than the number 9, because after 9 you've got 10, which is a 1 and 10. Therefore, in trying to explain everything in the universe to you, I'll have to try to put them into terms or within these categories that you understand, and in the process take away from what I'm trying to explain to you. How is this? Answer. As I explained to you, there are some things that are beyond your level of understanding. You cannot comprehend them right now, but we will. You see, when I try to tell you things outside of your circle or your comprehension, which is person, places, and things, solid, liquid, gas, God, man, devil, I have to try and break it down where you'd best understand, just like the word creation or beginning. I just want to read that little excerpt just to let you know that we are This is how we are taught by the master. We try to, master's intent is to expand our minds beyond person, places and things, solid, liquid, gas, God, man and devil. This triad that has kept us entrapped by this construct that was created not by us nor for us, but to keep people in a vacuum. Okay, I need that book again, Science of Creation. So today's class is called The Etherians. Who and what are these ontological forces of natural nature? And as usual, I'd like to ask you questions based upon the class title. But I just want to continue reading before we actually delve into the subject matter. Again, reading from the Science of Creation, and this ties in. I just like to say this, that this is again another installment of classes that we've done. I just want to, the last class we was here, we done is called the Sun Cycle, or what people know as the Age of Aquarius. I just want to read an excerpt that touches on this and that subject that we did last time we was here. And again, coming from the Science of Creation. It's page 5, and it reads, question, what are cycles? Answer, a cycle, according to the American Heritage Dictionary, is an interval of time during which a characteristic, often regularly repeated event or sequence of events occurs. A single complete execution of a periodically repeated phenomenon, a periodically repeated sequence of events, the orbit of a celestial body, a long period of time and age, or they could refer to as an era. Baba goes into that later on. Right. As you recall, your history must renew itself every 24,000 years, which consists of 4 cycles, 2 sun cycles or gold cycles, and 2 moon cycles or silver grayish cycles. The entire universe moves around these 4 cycles. Your entire solar system is a part of a bigger system known as the Milky Way, which moves every 24,000 years. Now, there are cycles upon cycles upon cycles upon cycles. There are cycles within cycles within cycles within cycles. So the universal cycle has a time frame or duration of 72 million years. 4 cycles, and those 4 cycles are referred to as a revolutionary cycle, which is 18 million years. Then we have the origination cycle, another 18 million. Then the de-origination cycle, 18 million. Then we have the evolutionary cycle, another 18 million, which adds up to a total of 72 million years. We call it the SMAT circle, or the circle of space, matter, and time, SMAT. These are universal cycles. Then we have what we refer to as a 96,000 year galactical cycle. And we also have what we call the 24,000 year cycle. As it says here, 2 sun cycles or gold cycles and 2 silver cycles or grayish cycles or moon cycles. And right now, we are in the new 72 million year revolutionary cycle, and we are now in the new 96,000 year galactical cycle, and we are also in the new 24,000 year sun cycle, and these cycles move counterclockwise. So we are like at point south, and the forces are pulling us up. And if anyone got any questions thus far before we continue? No questions? I just want to say room chat. Leo Wright, Rohobat Moisar from Houston. It's like Katy, Texas. Rohobat Zamal. Right, let's continue reading. Okay, let's continue reading. So the moon cycle is a symbol of the night or the shadow hour, and the sun cycle is a symbol of the day. We are moving into the sun cycle because as a galaxy makes a complete wobbly circle around its sun called an equinox, and the planet gets closer and farther away from the sun at different times in its motion due to its elliptical orbit. Question: what is the solar era? Answer: during the periods that the sun pulls the earth closest to it are periods referred to as the solar era or the sun cycle. When the earth gets farther away from the sun, that is the moon cycle. That's why the moon is synonymous with shadow hours or night, and the sun is synonymous with earlier daylight hours. Again, just like how on the planet Earth we have the seasons, we have spring, which is death into life. We have summer, which is life into life. We have autumn or fall, which is life into death. And we have winter, which is death into death. Now, these are cycles, or they say seasons. You know what I mean? Sons of the sea. Okay, so just like on the planet Earth, we have these cycles. We have, as we said, we have cycles upon cycles upon cycles. Okay. This happens every 6,000 years. We are getting ready to come back into the sun cycle. Now, since 1970 AD, with the opening of the seventh seal, we have left the era of the Piscean age and moved into the era of the Aquarian age, an era of air which utilizes laser beams, video, and ultraviolet rays, etc. Now, when they say the Aquarian age, if you taught last class, we refer to that in Wu-Sabat as the sun cycle, you just read. And when they say an era of air, we're talking about an era of ether. Now, when we talk about ether, we have to go into the planes as it relates to the etheric realms. And we have we have the three states of matter, which scientists refer to as solid, liquid, and gas. Then there's the fourth element, which they refer to as plasma or the plasmatic realm. However, there are other realms beyond the four states of matter, which is the etheric realm, which scientists don't really acknowledge. The reason for that is because they say it hasn't been proven. I just want to read an excerpt that when I Googled it, and it says this, especially about the electromagnetic field. And it's a question here: is the electromagnetic field the ether? The word here is, they say ether as in A-E-T-H-E-R. And it says here, electromagnetic waves are traveling excitations of the electromagnetic field. This is because no such thing as ether exists. And as pointed out, this has been verified experimentally. The concept of the electromagnetic field as it is known today was not during the time of the Michelson-Morley experiment. What they're saying here is that as today, they have no, or the master teacher puts it, they have no instrumentation to measure ether. We're going to explain that in a scroll called the emotional energy. Keep with us, fam, because we're on a journey here. A Sabian spiritual journey. Or say a Nawapian spiritual journey. And we're tying it all in. Right, let me just read this here. Okay, so they're saying here, when you Google it, that ether is something that has not been verified. I'm going to read another excerpt got here from, this is from the Google. Historical physics. Ether theories propose a space-filling substance that acted as a medium for electromagnetic and gravitational forces. These theories were popular before the advent of relativity and quantum mechanics, which rendered them obsolete, meaning that they don't really, ether is no longer regarded as something that exists, it's just a theory. Okay, let's stop there. However, in Wu-Sabat, we are taught better. That's what the master teacher says in the the scroll emotional energy. I don't know if you could see that. You'll see that emotional energy. Okay. Actual fact number 17, and it reads, this is page 4, coming from verse 23. You see, Nawapians, electromagnetic energies such as radio, heat, light, and X-rays can be envisioned as traversing the ether in the form of bullets or clusters called quantum particles, as in quarks, biops, zelis. And 24. And now, Nawapians, this is ether. 25. The entire universe is permeated with a basic energy which is of a rarefied concentration compared to the energy bundles which comprise atoms and quantum particles. Meaning that ether is in everything. We reach that point here, fam. Let's walk with us. 26. You will have a hard time trying to conceive of basic energy with the same understanding associated with energy, because the basic type had no motion and cannot impart force. 27 is quiescent, meaning, as it says here, passive. And quiescent means inactive, passive and imperceptible. It is the mu'at, mother of energy and matter. It is that form which all things are created. Sorry, it is that basic energy from which all things are created. 28. And she, this basic energy, the mother of energy, is revealed to you by evidence existing in the wave phenomena of the propagation of light. And that in moods of vibration of the three colors, blue, yellow, red, which birth all others. By this we know she is part of their existence. What this is saying is that it was the higher beings, Rayetat and Raye, that birth these, what they refer to as primary colors, blue, yellow, and red. And which birth, and from there, all other colors will birth from these three colors. 29. This basic energy or ether imposes a limit on the speed of Nawar light. 30. And it's all within dark matter, or we should say black matter. Remember, there's also black energy. So space is not empty. I'm going to stop there. I don't want to get it too. Let me continue reading, because we're saying how this basic energy or ether imposes a limit on the speed of Nawar light. 30. And it's all within dark matter, so space is not empty. 31. So let's stop there. So when they say, oh, an atom is mostly empty space, we know it's not true, because there is a basic energy or we say now. There's a basic energy or ether that is within that portion of the atom that is referred to as empty space. So it's not empty. 31. She keeps control over all. Otherwise, you might expect a quantum of Nawar light to achieve any speed depending on the amount of energy that could be exerted upon it. 32. Here it is now. If space were truly empty or nothingness, no thing exists, then radiated energy would be able to travel at any rate in an infinite range of speeds, instead of having an upper limit which has been named the speed of light, 186,272 miles per second. I just want to stop there. Reaching that point here, fam. I'm going to come back to that scroll again. Any questions thus far before we continue, or should we keep on going? Okay, let's keep on going. Okay, so we said that we're talking about, before we get onto ether, we're talking about, or the Etherians, we're talking about this planes. We said there are three planes, solid, or three states of matter, or the planes, solid, liquid, and gas, and the fourth one they refer to as the plasmatic realm. However, from solid, liquid, and gas, the master goes a bit deeper. Within the physical plane, there are higher forms of matter, unknown and unfeasible. Sorry, this is from again reading from the Science of Creation, page 15. However, there are many more states, there are many more forms or states of being within the physical plane than just the three mentioned, solid, liquid, and gas. It is obvious that the higher forms of matter are unknown and unfeasible to Western science. This fourth classification is called ultra-gaseous matter. It is also known that beyond this fourth classification or subplane of matter, there are still three higher or more intricate subplanes. And these are life force ether, light ether, and mental reflecting. And if you've got the Holy Tablets, you can write this down, fam. Go to Holy Tablets, page 695. Read it from verse 264. It talks about ultra-gaseous matter. You can do this in your own time, fam, if you've got the Holy Tablets. Holy Tablets, page 695. This is chapter 7 of the Holy Tablets. Verse 264. I was reading from chapter 7, Holy Tablets, chapter 7, tablet 1. Okay. So you're reading from for life force ether, verse 287, light ether, you see that on 303, mental reflecting 310. Okay. So going back to Science of Creation now. When you mean, what do you mean? Question, what do you mean? We really have one sense. Because you know, we have five senses, but we see, hear, taste, smell, and feel. Answer: when you condense the five human senses, you actually come out with one sense, and that is the sense of feel, touch. Because taste is a sense of touch. Matter touches taste buds, and smell is also a sense of touch. Particles touch nerve cells to react to smell. Here is a sense of touch because sound waves touch the eardrum, then causes it to vibrate. See is also a sense of touch because light has to touch the cornea to enter the iris, which enables you to see. Humans once had four higher senses, which are telepathy, which is mental communication, or the transference or thought from one being to another without the use of words or wires, which is really how we communicated before we was given speech. Intuition, which is the quick perception of truth by the mind without the intervention of any process of thought. Psychometry, which is object reading, the ability to identify or tell something about an object by picking up thought waves implanted by someone previously associated with the article. Lastly, there is clairvoyance, which is the ability to see into other dimensions, second sight, and awareness of distinct objects and events. You were endowed with all these senses when you had a gland called the barotheric gland. These four higher senses can also come down to one sense: perception. Telepathy, psychometry, intuition, clairvoyance are all a sense of perception. When you get to the five physical senses, it is already established that they are all one, touch, and to touch is to perceive. Thus, you only have one sense, and that is perception. Now, I'd just like to add also is that we said earlier on that we are now in the sun cycle, also referred to as the age of Aquarius. That's what the Westerners call it. And we said it's an angel. We are now in that day and time, or we are in this day, time, and cycle, whereby these senses are now becoming heightened. Okay. everything's becoming heightened in this day and time. And with the coming of Pandababinanan and Wu-Sabat, Wu-Nawab, all we are doing is expediting the conditions when we hear the information and we apply the information. And when we say hear the information, let's say it like this: Wu-Sabat, Wu-Nawab is a living entity. We said this last time, that is in an inner state, meaning it is inactive. Once we start applying what we've been taught, we then begin to activate these 9 etheric forces that's within Wu Nawab, Wu-Sabat, what we've been taught. Or to put another way, Wu-Sabat, or the knowledge therein, is the master keys. And we said that keys lock and or unlock doors. However, it is our action that opens the door. What we do is what opens the door. Application opens the door. So you could have a master key and the door is unlocked but still remain closed because you're not doing nothing with it. You're not activating the forces of what we've been taught. So it just remains behind closed doors. Okay. And when we say the master keys to lock and unlock doors, we are referencing the keys of our mind, because that is the master component is our minds. Once the doors of our minds are unlocked and we open the doors, then we start reacting as free thinking beings. Any questions of that sort before we continue? Clubhouse, Zoom? Rohbat.
How long does it take, or is it all based on the self? How long it takes to unlock the doors? And you were talking about your perception. Is that all based down to the individual, for lack of a better word?
Right. Yes. How long does it take? It's like this. Let's explain like this. There are many doors that are unlocked. And how you know a door is unlocked is by way of what we refer to as having a DNA explosion. That is the unlocking of a door. Once a door unlocked, you have made a 1-degree shift. Now, it could be that the first time you've heard Wu-Sabat, you heard the master's voice, you read a book, or you heard a brother or a sister propagating the doctrine, and something inside you clicked or connected with what you've heard. That connection or click or that genetic explosion, that is the unlocking of a door. That's how long it took. Now, you could be like, let's say as an example, a 13-year-old child, and a parent or a friend or someone says something to that child and it resonated with them. At that point is your moment of awakening. So when you say how long does it take, it is relative to each individual. So we cannot put a time frame, but there are doors that are unlocked. However, as we said earlier on, when a door unlocks, it doesn't mean it is open. You can have an unlocked door that is still shut, but it's your actions that will open the door. And as you walk through cross over the threshold, you're on your journey. You're on your journey. As you reach, you take a few steps. You take a step. So let's look at each step as a degree. And you come to another door. You unlock it. You open it. You walk through, until you reach until you have reached 360 degrees. You've completed one cycle or one cycle. You follow? So that's a very good question. How long does it take to unlock? Okay, I hope that makes.
Also, so we're seen by our light. Could you give me one tool I can use to have make my light remain on a green hue?
Yeah, that's a really good question, and it's a really simple question. Do you know there are many tools that we have at our disposal to utilize. One tool that comes to mind is our breathing. You've also got our diet as well and exercise, but our breathing, you've got chanting. But let's say breathing. Just by the utilization of breathing correctly, we can change the atmosphere of our body. But when we say breathing, we not just breathe anyhow. There is a specific way to breathe. So when we're breathing, as you know, we're breathing through the nose, we breathe out through the mouth. The reason why you're breathing through the nose is because we have hairs in our nose, and when we're breathing in, the hairs is cooling, or the nose is cooling the air. Hello? And when you're breathing, we should use our diaphragm, meaning you breathe in and you push your diaphragm, or say your stomach out. That's the basic one, the basic one. Then you exhale through the mouth and relax the stomach. The breathing technique is that the ancient Egyptians utilized, or the science of breath was called SMAI, S-M-A-I. SMAI stands for complete total union breathing. This SMAI technique you will find if you study yoga, because the yogis also utilize this breathing mechanism, and so do the Orientals in their spiritual system. They utilize this breathing system. But remember, the inception is coming from the ancient Egyptian mystery systems with this breathing technique. So when we are the SMAI breathing, quickly says for the listening audience, when we say SMAI breathing, we say, first of all, when you're breathing in, there are three components which are one. They're not separate. There are three components which are one. So we're breathing through the nose, and as we breathe in through the nose, we'll push our stomach out. We breathe in again, and we lift up the rib cage. We breathe in again, and we lift up the chest and the shoulders. Hold it for a few seconds, then we breathe out through the mouth, starting from the shoulders, breathing out, relaxing the chest, and relaxing the abdomen. So we call it, so we're using the diaphragm, using the muscles of the rib cage, and using the chest and the shoulders to help squeeze, as we breathe out, squeeze the air out of our lungs. Complete total union breath, and that's called SMAI. If you find that very hard, just breathe in through the nose, pushing the abdominals out, and breathe out, hold it for a few seconds, and breathe in. So breathe out, and just relaxing the stomach. When we say stomach, we're really referring to the diaphragm. Because when you breathe in, the diaphragm creates an oval shape as you're breathing in. And as you breathe out, it relaxes, so it's squeezing the air out. Okay, now continue doing that breathing technique, and that will help in changing your light. Bear in mind, when we talk about the diaphragm, you're talking about the region within the solar plex, which is our own inner sun, and you also take in consideration our heart, and more importantly, the vagus nerve. The vagus nerve is the 10th of the 12 cranial nerves, but it extends from the medulla oblongata, going all the way down into what they refer to as the viscera, or this midsection here of the body. Okay, so you asked a really good question, and there's a lot in breathing that perhaps we will do a class on that, and more than likely we'll do a class on that. Go ahead, Zaman.
Sorry, go on, sorry.
That's it. Continue, bro. Yeah, okay.
How come breath and that process of breathing is always in the state of involuntary and voluntary, and because we can control our metabolic rate of breathing, just like when we exercise, example one, and then our body regulates that. So how come that's kind of one of the main things that are in our body that's always in that state of voluntary and involuntary, and is that the way we put it? Yeah, that's the question. So.
Yes, a good question as well, because the reason for that is because these are part of the life forces. These are part of the forces that I'll just put it in words. These are part of how we've been so engineered, how our life forms has been so, animal life forms on this planet has been so engineered that the breathing, just like the heart rate, can be controlled, can be in a state of voluntary or involuntary action. You see, without the breathing, there'd be no life force coming into the body to maintain physical life. This is one of the 9 principles that are taught within the Egyptian mystery systems, especially of how to control your breathing. Okay, so you're 100% right. You're right in that it is just one of those mechanisms that has been engineered into animals, not just human beings, to be under voluntary and or involuntary control. See, just to maintain that burning, because without the burning, there's no life force. Okay. You're welcome, Isabel. I think is that all about the breathing? Yes, the breathing is one of those etheric life forces. Okay. Leo Wright has something to invite. Okay, we invited Leo Wright. When you're ready, Leo, just come on board. No speaker. Go ahead, Zama. Robert.
Yes, I got a question on the breathing. How do you control your breathing while you are sleeping?
Right, that's a really good question. Do you know that once you start to practice these breathing techniques on a regular basis, when you are sleeping, it now works that way, because by breathing, okay, you know, I'm going to put it like this. When all our bodies, all our internal organs all work in synchronicity with each other, or will all work in conformity with each other. When you are doing a lot of breathing exercises, or especially doing your exercising, especially aerobic exercises, you are strengthening your heart, your lungs, and the whole internal body. And when you are sleeping, your body, because the integrity of your lungs and heart is of such a state, it now becomes the body now places itself into that state of working involuntary based upon the individual's health status. Now hear this now. That's a very good question that you pose to the room, because when we are awake and you're doing these breathing exercises, say you're just sitting down and you're doing these breathing exercises, your brainwave activity will start to drop down from what they refer to as, we are in our waking state, we are at what's referred to as at a beta level, which is between 14 and I think it's 14 and 21 cycles per second. And as you're breathing, say you're doing a voluntary controlled breathing, you're sitting down in terms, say you want to concentrate or meditate. As you're doing these breathing exercises, your brainwave frequencies start to drop down to what's referred to as the alpha level. This alpha level, at this alpha level is a state, is like we now begin to use another set of senses, higher senses than we are in the beta level. And that can be augmented just by our breathing. And if you continue breathing that way, consciously, the brainwave activity will start to drop down to the theta level and even deeper to the delta level and even deeper lower levels. This state when we start to go to sleep and get drowsy, our brainwave activity naturally drops down. When we do it consciously, we are preempting those higher states of awareness. Now, when we are sleeping, so when we are in a dream state, things will start to kick in it happens automatically, but based upon the health status of our body, internal organs, the body will start to work accordingly. Just how, likewise, if a person is unfit, the breathing, it becomes a struggle for the body to maintain that ease of activity, should we say. Now, to control your breathing while you're sleeping, it can also be augmented by our thought patterns. Remember, the subconscious does not sleep. Only the conscious mind rests. So we could program ourselves before we go into the dream state to gain control over our senses as well. For example, what we mean by that is, good question by the way, Leo. What we mean by that is you can program yourself before you go to sleep. I want to wake up at 5:45 a.m. Go to sleep. For 5:45 a.m. you will wake up on the dot. Okay, maybe a few minutes earlier, but 9 out of 10 times you'll wake up at 5:45 a.m. because you programmed yourself. And as you're sleeping, your brainwave activity oscillates, it travels up and down. You program yourself, I want to wake up at 5:45 a.m. and as the time approaches, your brainwave activity will start to gradually increase to the point whereby you begin to wake up. So we have multiple tools at our disposal we can utilize to help in our elevation mentally, physically, and spiritually. Breathing, it just happens to be one of those tools. Also, our mind really is another master tool as well. Okay, so I hope that answered questions, Amal. Okay, so Pata Amun Ray. How about Zamalia? Pata Amun Ray, like to go ahead, Samal.
Sure. What is the best position that the body should be in when practicing breathing exercises?
Oh, the best position, do you know? I would say seated down, sitting down, sitting in your seat. Let's sit down, back straight. Hands on your thighs, back straight, head up, about shoulder level. Just breathe in and out, or sit in a relaxed position. In any relaxed position, sitting down to me would be, or Hades. If you're a yoga master or say Smay master, you want to do the full lotus. Yeah, I recommend that as well. And it's not even a joke, because when you're in the, okay, let's look like this. If you look at those Tamarian masters, Egyptian masters, And if any yogi, fanagi, whoever, they're always in the full lotus position. The reason for that is because that if you could do the full lotus position, you are engaging. You know, in the body we have like meridians or energy centers in our body. You are engaging those those pathways. You are enhancing those pathways for energy to flow freely. That's why in Tamare, in our mystery schools, in our temples, we would sit in the full lotus position. If you cannot, that's like in Islam, they would do on the knees, isn't it? Yeah, in Islam, yeah, on the knees in Islam, you see. So everything is to the ground. So if your question, if you ask me what would be the best position, it would be the ideal position would be the full lotus, but on the ground because you're connecting with the Mother Earth, or just sit in any comfortable position so you're not in an agitated state. Right? Ideally, it would be the full lotus. Okay. I hope that helps, Samuel.
To a follow-up question.
Go ahead.
Now, in terms of the position, does it affect a certain gland in your body, depending on whether you sitting or standing, or the position that you're in?
Yeah. Yes. Let me just say like this first of all. In terms of exercising, I do recommend people to do a lot of mobility exercises. You could go on YouTube and tap in mobility exercises, especially with the legs. That involves the hip flexors, the knee, the ankle, and the toes. Because a lot of energy, once we start exercising the legs, everything will start to fall into place, especially doing mobility exercises, and it will start to affect especially your spinal column as well. Now, within the spinal column, as we said earlier on, we have a nerve, which you said earlier on, called the vagus nerve. And the vagus nerve not only has the connection between the internal viscera, heart, lungs, and solar plexus, etc., but also connects to the chakras or those endocrine glands. Okay, so position is very important in terms, and it helps to. These are the way you're seated has an effect on these internal organs of our body. So position is very important. I hope that answers your question there, Zamal.
Sure.
You're welcome. I just read. Hey, remember the class called the Etheric? We're getting there, fam. We're getting there. Okay, I'm gonna read a few what's been said here on the Clubhouse room chat. Curtis Da, Rahobat. Most often, what I feel happens. Meaning, if I force myself to feel like I'm going to win something, it happens. If I feel a woman likes me, she does. My question is, what sense would this be called, Zamel? Please. Right, that's a very good. I know, but that's a very good question and a very pertinent question at that, and statement as well. What it is that you are programming yourself. We talked about this, but we did a class on quantum mechanics, was it, or something like that? Yeah, quantum something. We did a class on quantum existing being. That's it, quantum existing being. And what it is that we are when you say things like when I force myself to feel like I'm going to win something that happens, that's because you are programming yourself. You are becoming a co-creator of your own reality. You're using your creative abilities that's within your mind to bring that which you want from the mental realm into the physical or into existence. Okay, you are now making the word become flesh. And when we use the word co-creator, what we mean is that you have your physical being and you have your non-physical being. People say spiritual being, or we say your etheric being. Your etheric being or your spiritual side of you is connected to the all the higher forces, depending on how well developed you are. So when you are mentally thinking, or when you are using verbally saying, I want to win this, or I want this, or I want that, you are making it, you are communicating from the physical to your non-physical and those creative forces, and you're bringing it into existence. So you now become what's referred to as a co-creator of your own reality. We are all co-creators of our own reality. However, what has happened is, it's a good thing you mentioned that, Samal. What has happened is the environment in which we live, or this society which we live in, has been so constructed that we now breeding, we're not really co-creating based upon our own sovereign power. We are bringing into effect things, or let's say multiple choice, things that has already been presented to us based upon the construct which we live in. Now, let's come out of that. Hang on, could you go back into the sisters? Oh, did I just come out? Did I just come out?
It was the connection went again.
Oh, sorry.
You're back on now.
Back on. Oh, okay. Right. Yeah. Sorry. So we live in a construct, and when we live in a construct, and the construct has been so created or constructed that we are choosing multiple choice. Now, I was talking to a brother at work, and I said to him yesterday that what has happened, this construct that we're under, or that we are subscribing and ascribing to, unbeknowing, was done by way of witches and warlocks. They've placed us under a spell to make us think that we are doing things off of our own free will and accord. But in order for us to do things of our own free will and accord, in totality, what we need to do is construct our own nation, our own sovereign and indigenous nation, which is what Wu-Sabat is all about. We now become sovereign. So, going back to the brother's statement here, when he says that, when he says how that when he wants something to happen, it happens. It's because he is co-creating that. Still on? I think we've. Are you okay? Okay. Yeah. So you say what? My question is, what sense would this be called, Zamal? The sense you record is using your higher sense, of creativity. That's what it's called. Going from the same brother, Curtis Starr. Our master teacher came to me smiling. I bowed to him when I was sleeping. He said to me, "Do it, just do it." Is that way? Do it. That's not what Nike says. I know my personal calling, and then when I woke up, my room smelled like some kind of citrus fruit. I was like, "Wow! Has this happened to anybody else in the chat. Okay, that's this is what the master said about that. There's an old tape. I don't even know if you could get it. I don't even know if it's on YouTube. It's called, what's his name? I remember years ago. I don't think it's got a name. Q&A class with master teacher. Anyway, one brother gave it to me many years ago, and in there, somebody, this is back in the Bushwick days, somebody asked the master a question that about, I had a dream, and you came in a dream, you said such and such and such and such. The master said to him, no, I said this and this and this and this. And a sister, after that, a sister asked him a question, and the master said it like this: when I enter your dream, is as much a reality to me as it is to you. And in another recording, the master says that I will touch people etherically because they open an etheric cord, and he's able to travel through that etheric cord and touch you. So now, when you say that I woke up, when you say, hey Curtis, that our master teacher came to me smiling, I bowed to him when I was sleeping. He said to me, do it, just do it. I know my personal calling, that's right. And then when I woke up, my room smelled like some kind of citrus fruit. I was like, wow, has this happened to anybody else in this chat? Right, yeah. What you are smelling is the master teacher's essence. That's his or natural body scent. What he done is he constructed a scent or oil called Malachi, which is as close as you can get to his body scent. So that is what you were smelling, his body scent, from the etheric realm to the physical, and that is letting you know that he is real. Now, this scent that emanates from the masters, this is a scent that emanates from the bodies. And I remember one time I was wearing, I think it would be the oil or whatever, many years ago, and someone made a comment. I think it's a Hindu guy made a comment, and I said, yeah, it's a natural body scent. And he said to me, I was just like, I think he said the yogi masters or the elders, So even in their teachings, just like in Islam, they say, I think Muhammad gave off a scent. I mean, the Mahdi gave off a scent. So these higher beings, when they walk to the planet Earth, and they come to the planet Earth, they give off a scent that is unique to them. I think the Muhammad, wore musk or something like that. That's why in Islam you see a lot of people wearing musk and different oils, etc., etc. Okay. So yes, so that is just, so Curtis Dar, that is a confirmation for you of the master's presence. Okay, that's a confirmation. That's like a gift by way of the master teacher. Yeah. Are we supposed, Curtis Dar again, the guy's asking lots of questions here. Are we supposed to sleep on our right hand side so our heart can pump blood around our body properly? Well, I have to admit, I sleep on my left hand side. To me, sleeping on my left hand side is more comfortable. I have a better sleep sleeping on my left hand side than on my right hand side. I can't fall asleep. I sleep on my right hand side. So everybody is different. So yeah, if you feel sweet sleeping on your right hand side, then sleep in your back. And Goddess Keturah, your back. God Hatui is gonna to listen to you ever time. Goddess he third. Okay, well, thanks a lot. Tai Chi, Leo, right? Tai Chi, I heard is good. Yeah, Tai Chi. Tai Chi is a very good practice to do. Exercising general martial arts, etc., etc. Broderick Foreman, is there a specific topic that everybody is on today? Yes, listen, man. The topic is called the Etherians. Who and what are these ontological forces of natural nature? Okay. Okay, that's great. Right, so hope you're still on. Hope you're still gonna be heard on Clubhouse. Yeah, cool. Right, so yeah, so today's class is called the Etherians. Who and what are these? Who or what are these creative forces of natural nature? So what's the time now? Oh, well, we're still good timing, fam. Right, so when we say Etherians, fam, what do we mean by that? When we say Etherians. Anybody? Clubhouse, Zoom, listening audience, when you say Ethereum, what comes to mind when you hear the word Ethereans? Anything comes to mind?
Universal energy.
Take the mic, take the mic. Because that's it, yeah.
Etherians, I know that to be something more universal energy, that's unseen realm,
Okay.
or influences
Yes, that's right. Right.
that unify with our being here.
That's
They
right.
give us guidance.
That's right. So are they like? Would you say there's another word for spiritual beings?
Yeah, I'd say energy, because
Yeah.
everything's energy first, isn't it?
So the Ethereans are like energy beings.
Yeah,
Are you an Etherean?
partly. I think we all came from the etheric realm
That's
first,
yes, that's right.
because you have the nothing first, the consciousness.
Right, that's right. Which is ether.
That's what it's called, ether. I
Yeah,
can't remember the names, but I know there was
spiritual beings.
energy and matter first,
That's right. Yeah.
which then made the physical body.
Okay.
But it's energy that makes us breathe at night. You're saying, how do we breathe? We don't consciously think of that. That's left to the etheric realm to do.
That's I like you here. Like
So
that.
when we wake up, we don't wake up ourselves. We're woken up from that same realm.
That's right. So you're physical beings and you're part ether beings.
Yeah, there's different layers to our being, isn't there?
Yeah.
So the etheric being, don't know what layer it is, but there's several layers oracally in our auric field.
That's right. You could go into that. So you've got the books there, right? Yeah, you're on the right track. So is it right to say we are etheric or Etherians having a physical experience?
Yeah, I would say that come first, because energy is first, isn't it?
Yeah.
Energy and matters first, then it evolves into a different form.
Correct. Have you heard the term spiritual beings having a physical experience?
Yeah, I have.
Same thing, isn't it?
Yeah.
So basically, you are spiritual beings first, then became physical. Correct?
Yeah, I always see spirit could also be a different entity other than the energy and matter.
Okay.
Because the energy would be the same as the wind,
Okay.
the rain, the different season, the different elements that come, mineral kingdom, the universe itself when it makes things form, I think is different from a spirit, which they can say once you pass on, your spirit still roams.
That's right.
But energy can be completely different from that. I don't think energy and spirit are necessarily the same, even though they have the same parts or components or makeup, obviously.
Okay.
I think they're on different frequencies. There's different frequencies, yeah.
Okay, right. You're right. Everything is energy. Everything is energy. Like you said, different components. All it is the mode of vibration. So the slower the vibration of energy, the more solid it becomes. The faster the vibration of energy, it becomes into a state of non-physical.
Yeah.
Or becomes etheric.
Yeah.
Okay. So you are an Etherian slowed down in vibration to become physical. Yeah. Or let's say like this: a portion of you is physical, and the higher portion of you is etheric / spiritual. Yeah. What it is, the reason why I keep using the word etheric or Ethereal is so that your mind will start to take things to another level.
No, I'm aware of that. Yeah.
Fantastic. That's good. Yeah. So I'll be ask you questions now. Seriously, pass the mic to me. No. So yeah. So this is what we're getting at, and you're 100% right. There are more to our being than physical and just spiritual or just ethereal. There are layers. Okay, we can go into that later on. It's got a picture of there. Go ahead, Simone. Sorry.
That state, you say conscious and science gases, or being aware of your surroundings and the knowledge that we have. How does that tie in then in real time?
So how does what tie in?
What are we meant to be? So is that having knowledge of what we're meant to be doing? Is that going into, because to be conscious and conscious, everyone's different. Everyone has different mentalities and different ways and different things that they do. So for a Sabian to be conscious and conscious and have perception of who you are as a higher level being, because we're existing on and we're vibrating on different states. So what does that look like to be conscious and conscious real time as a
Right. Good question. What does it look like? Right. These are two words the brother's using there. Conscious and conscience, how they put it. Conscious means to be alert and awake, and conscience means to differentiate between right and wrong, what to do and what not to do. Now, Wu-Sabat now teaches us that being alert and awake, once we are fully alert and awake, which is a process, because the smart teacher teaches us that the spell has been cast, that there's a spell of been cast upon our conscious mind, meaning that we no longer are really alert and awake of self and kind. And when Wu-Sabat is here. Wu-Sabat is here to break that spell, so we become conscious. When you say conscience, which is differentiation between right and wrong, meaning that right and wrong in the sense which will give the best result or outcome. Because you could do something, how should I put it? Sometimes you have to hold back certain things because it is a person meant to go through an experience of learning. Or sometimes there's times in life whereby you have to give, and certain times in life you have to hold back. So right and wrong is relative based upon the circumstance or situation that an individual's in. However, when you use the word conscience, the differentiation between right and wrong, it is relative to what result that you want to achieve. So you could, however, robbing an individual or doing harm to an individual or to a body or animal or whatever, deliberately is exercising what we refer to as a disagreeable nature. We do have disagreeable. We are dual beings or dual nature beings. We have agreeable and disagreeable within inside of us. It's a matter of us knowing how to exercise those natures accordingly. You see. So now, when you say what is the result of being conscious and being conscious and conscious as a Wu-Sabat, as a Sabian, that exhibition would be by way of your works, not just your words. You see, as they say, action speaks louder than words, but it's based upon what has manifested, what you're manifesting, you see, in Wu-Sabat. Hope that helped, Samal, or would you like to go a bit more?
Sure. No, that's
Okay.
perfect.
Okay.
No.
Anybody else?
Sure.
Is that
As
Pata?
it-
Guys, Samal.
Yeah, as it relates to the Etherian beings, what state are they coming from as it relates to the 9 planes of existence? Are they beyond the nine planes of existence?
Right. Very good question. The masters, there are, let me read something coming from the dimensional shift. It's a good question. It's come the part that I call the dimensional shift. Don't know if you want to see that. Can you see that? Dimensional shift part of this particular, it reads this. Dimensional shift, page 6, reading from verse 61. Okay, let me read from verse 60. It reads, this is the part of that dimensional shift. All of these facts and more are part of a role in the principle underlying the process of ascension and transformation. Remember in the class we did called mental alchemy, reverse engineering our minds? Well, something like that. Caliber, yeah. We talk about transformation, transfiguration, and transmutation. 61. Dimensions and harmonic multiverses are linked to understanding quantum physics. You know, the master teacher did say that the next level to divinity is that of a quantum existing being. And you could hear that when the master teacher says that on the video called How to Prove the Existence of the Most High. You can remember that on YouTube, How to Prove the Existence of the Most High. 37 minutes in, he says it, and he only said it in about 1 second. So go into that and you hear that, he says it there quickly. So 62, everything is vibration or frequencies. 63, you understand now that higher frequencies can intermingle with lower frequencies. The Etherians also are on a higher vibratory frequency can intermingle with lower vibratory frequency. Or you who are on the lower vibratory frequency can raise yourselves up, for example, by your breathing to elevate higher. Okay. 64. You understand now that there are various frequencies, as in radio waves and television waves, that become colors, sounds, and images. And only by tuning into the correct frequencies can you listen and channel so you can receive what's projected or transmitted. Going back to breathing now. By way of your breathing, you can, as the brother says there, Curtis Dye, you can transmit or you can receive. As we said, that your breathing can help you speed up the vibratory frequency of the brain. Or the next level is just by mere thought. You could think of a thing, bam, and so it is. Okay. 65. all of these, when he says, you now understand that there are various frequencies, as in radio waves and television waves. You talk about the electromagnetic spectrum, okay? From light, from electric power to, I think it's cosmic rays, okay? The one that we're on now is 400 to 700 nanometers, which is the visible light spectrum, okay? All of these wavelengths, 65, all of these wavelengths of different frequencies intermingle in the same space at the same time aligned. 66. Now, Nawapians, understand this, that this universe, talking about this universe, because you know that multiverses, is composed of 8 harmonic tones or worlds, as in music scales, each note of an octave. There are worlds that are within worlds that are within worlds, and what separates one world from another is, as he says here, the harmonic frequencies, or the 8 harmonic tones. Each harmonic world is composed of 8 dimensions. So there are 8 harmonic tones or worlds, and each one of those 8 is composed of 8 dimensions. That means then that in total there are 64 dimensions in total. You get that? 68. All of these dimensions exist in the same space and time, as does light and sound. 69. Yet they operate and appear separately because of the vibratory rate or frequency of which they are at. It's like you got a radio and you got all these different frequencies, all these different radio stations are on all these different FM frequencies, as an example. And by tuning into 91.3 you get radio 4. By tuning into 93 whatever you get another radio station, and 94, 93.2 you get another radio station, etc, etc. So it's like that. Remember the principle, as above so below as above. The same way how the higher frequencies, as it says here, can intermingle with lower frequencies, and lower frequencies can intermingle with the higher frequencies, so can we. Yet they operate and appear separately. 70. Because of the variant particle pulsation rate of the atom or cells, meaning that it's talking about the frequency of the atoms or cells of which these worlds exist at. 71. It has to do with tones, sounds as used in each word. They talk about how by, it says in the next thing, I need to say it, Baba says in the next verse, 672. As you sing, chant, pray, or speak, the use of grammatic pronunciation of your own language, using your own tongue and given voice box tones and numbers, as in music, opens your imagination and access to the other dimensions of your etheric being by your emotional being, or ba'ah, soul. By chanting, or just by, let's say chanting as an example, he's got it here. Our voice, especially as Nagara Nadu Negroids, is so constructed that when we talk, it's almost like we're singing, especially if we step outside of the English language and let's say we're using the African language. It's as though that we are singing when we are talking, like Miss Batia, it should be really, it should be sung. You know, it should sound as though we are singing when we are talking, not flat and dead, like the newscaster how they speak, not flat and dead. Okay, and because of it's got chant in here, it opens your imagination. When we say imagination, you're talking about image, the image that you create in your mind's eye to open up other portals. And it says it here. Open your imagination and access to the other dimensions of your etheric being by your emotional being or by our soul. So, as the sister was saying here, as you can see now that you are, this is talking about your etheric being now, and by your own voice box, you could activate from your physical to your etheric being, and you could travel to other dimensions. Okay, just by your voice alone, that's it. With your soul, because your soul is the vehicle as well. Because you've got your physical body, and you've got your you've got the spiritual body, and you've got your soul body, and you've got the mental body. The spirit is the vehicle for the soul, or let's say your physical body is the vehicle for the spirit. The spirit, the vehicle that houses the soul, and your soul will carry you on to the higher realms. Okay, and you could ascend the higher realms while still in the physical. You don't have to drop dead. Okay, you could transform yourself by mental alchemy or reverse engineering. Okay. 73, which activates your subconscious mind to remember when you were divine and Etherian. Now lost under Nawam, this spell of sleep. Just I hope that answers your question, Pata Amundray. So we're saying is that the Etherians now can operate, the higher nine ether beings can operate on any realm. Because you said that, let me read something again. And this pertains to the master teacher. Again, coming from the this scroll here, emotional energy. Can you see that? Emotional energy, put it that way. Can you see? Emotional energy, yeah. So this is what the master teacher says. Emotional energy, page 9. Let's read from verse 73. He pa nazir amonub ray pata is a nazir, is the master teacher. It's one of his titles. We say Amun Nabab Ray Pata is a Nazir, an overseer in person, the person of His Excellency Dr. Malachi C.K. York, in human form. It says it here, next verse. An incarnation into flesh to save you, to raise your vibration rates higher. The master teacher, this is his objective, to raise us higher. Go ahead, Samuel.
You have a question in the chat from Terry Jamal, but before I go to him, I just wanted to, if I may, just give a few references for that question as well.
Oh, go ahead, Samuel, please.
So the Patarak Wunuwap Commandments on Sexual Violations, page 7, verses 84 to 89, it says that I have taught and often repeated that no one wins the race in racism. 85. Because at the finish line, each leaves their physical body behind. 86. All return to etheric beings. 87. All become spiritual beings. 88. All become vibrational beings. 89. Each vibrating according to the etheric level. Then I'm going to go to page from actual fact, emotional energy, page 7, verse 58. It says that now, Sabian, you Negroids vibrate on all 9 ether abodes at the same time as atoms of energy of one mutational rate are not in rapport as they were with those of a different mutation rate. That is each race, those being root races, the oldest and fastest to vibrate is the Negroid, followed by the many sub-races, and last, the root races of the Caucasoid and its many sub-races which vibrate only up to 6 ether, and the Mongoloids up to 7 ether. while the originators, the Negroids, cover all vibrations as the creators of all others from themselves up to 9 ether. Then again, a couple more. On page 1, verse 3 of the Master's Secret, the physical ethers, it talks about when we speak of ether, we're speaking of the species of each race. Each race has its own number of etheric characteristics. And finally, from how actual fact, intelligent design, divine design, or plot of aliens, page 29, verse 133, goes on to say the natural rules of etheric nature vibrate, and you as a race, from color to your size to how much the sun's rays strike you every 9 minutes, is very important. For Earth vibrates on F major and nature around it on C major, middle C, and your body on A major. That all has been changed over the years of mixing with beings who vibrate on their own frequencies. Only you can realign all others as you sing, dance, chant, pray, and do the rituals in the right keys. I yield. So yeah, Terry Jamal's waiting with his question.
Yeah. Before Terry Jamal comes up, I'd like to tell Jamal for that. Because when we say 9 ether, what we are saying is 9 ether is a composition of all existing chemicals, gases, formulas, and elements of natural nature, which we are, as Nagara Nadu, Negroes, are composed of. And then you have 8 ether beings, 7 ether, 6 ether, and 5 ether beings. And because they are of a lower etheric composition, that means their natures also will be different as well. Okay? And as it says here, going back to the brother's question about the higher beings, 60, while the originators, the Negroids, cover all vibrations. Sorry, this is coming from emotional energy. Well, second just read, page 8, verse 60. While the originators, the Negroids, cover all vibrations as the creators of all others from themselves up to 9 ether. So the higher beings, as we're trying to get at, they can participate on all realms. And we can do likewise once we become raised up. Okay, and before I get to Terry Jamal, I'm going to read from the same scroll, verse 73. As he said, let's continue reading from verse 73. Nazir Amunubrai Akpata is a Nazir in person, an incarnation into flesh to save you, to raise your vibration rates higher. 74, this is it. And he can function on any abode. This is what these 6 etheric beings have been told by their lower forces of Wicca, and why they have imprisoned him in such a high level to keep him from touching you, and doing so activate your higher senses. Here it is though. It's not going to work because by way of the information that Partner Babi and Dana has put out, it still can touch us. 75. Nawapian or Nawabians, a being such as this one, a being living on all of the abodes at once, enjoys the inherent mental ability to naturally discern all the abodes which are of lower nutational rate than the abode on which he happens to incarnate in person in order to function. 76. Every mortal alive today consists of many beings or forces of ether from this material abode is just one of the known 7. So you start from abode of physical, abode of life, abode of spirit, abode of mental, and going on and on and on. Okay. Terry Jamal, if you like to ask your question, please, Jamal. A shout to Terry Jamal.
Let me read it for you. It's actually in the chat.
Oh, okay, please.
It says, how does one prepare themselves to perceive or interact with the Etherians? Are they rituals, vibrations? And can you talk about the etheric cord, what it is, and how do the Etherians communicate with us using the etheric cord?
Good question. The etheric cord is the vagus nerve. Okay, because that's the cord that we come down into from the higher realm. That's the channel. Let me read, I think, from the Science of Creation. Now, when you say, how can you communicate with the Etherians, there are many forms of, as you said, there are many forms of communication. And it could be just by mere thought. Now, correct me if I'm wrong, it's a matter of being conscious and conscience. That's Nainitha. Conscious and conscience gases are being, and there's little things. For example, we gave the example of say you want to wake up at 5:45 a.m. You say this thing to yourself, I want to wake up at 5:45 a.m. You are making a verbal communication to your higher self or your etheric self that you want to wake up at a certain time, and at 5:45 a.m. you wake up. Look at these little signs. Now, you know what? Every time I just program myself to wake up at a certain time, and I always wake up. Now, take it to the next level and do another, I don't want to call it an experiment for confirmation. And there comes a point whereby there's no doubt in your mind that whatever you want, you would materialize. I want to say something else pertaining to that. I want to say something else that pertaining to that. And I love it. The thing that can help augment that is your breathing. I just want to read something coming from this scroll here. Let's see if it's in here. This particular scroll here, I've got the scroll here. Oh, I think it was in here. I was reading the I want to find out in it. I think it's this scroll here, Science of Creation, where it talks about the vagus nerve. So I can find that quote. Just the other day. I can't find it. I'll move on. But what you do is move on. But it's the vagus nerve. It's the vagus nerve that helps, that connects you. It's your etheric cord. It's your etheric cord. But as we said before, that there are many modes of communication to the Etherians, not just breathing. Mere thought can also make that communication to them. But not just the Etherians or the higher beings. Remember, also your ancestors as well. You make communication with your ancestors. Because you make communication with your ancestors because your ancestors are within inside of you. So when you're eating foods, you're also nourishing, you're eating the proper foods, good wholesome food. You're also nourishing your ancestors that are within inside of you. Likewise, you may have an ancestor who is an alcoholic and likes alcohol, and you drinking a lot of alcohol, they are absorbing the alcohol through you, and could come a point where, or you could have an ancestor who's gluttonous and just like to eat, and they're absorbing the food that you eat just as you are. Likewise, by austerity, meaning a lot of fasting, a lot of spiritual works, etc., healthy living, you are strengthening those ancestors that are within inside of you as well. But educating yourself, you're also educating your ancestors also. And by raising up into higher degrees or frequencies as a physical living being, you're also affecting your ancestors that is also within inside of you as well. So you're never alone. Your ancestors are always walking not only beside you, but with inside of you as well. Okay, so I hope that answered the question. Samal Terry, Shamal. Any further questions? Anybody?
It kind of ties in with what you're saying, and we have our energy or our emotions, which is our energy, and then we have our things we experience. Then we tap into the
I think we lost you, Samal.
so
Oh, we lost you for a minute, Samal. We lost you. You got disconnected. Yeah, I can hear you now. Yeah, that's it. Go ahead. Say again, Samal, please.
So we basically have our emotions and feelings and experiences that we go through day to day, which is not linked to ourselves. So I'm trying to put two parts together to answer my question. So then our mind's eye is what we perceive things through. So based on our experiences and our emotions, is Wu-Sabat here to kind of bring us back home, to say is because there's many different reasons why people come into Wu-Sabat. So how do you know what it is really here for you? Is it based on what you're doing through?
It's based upon what you're doing.
Yeah.
Yeah, your works, as you said earlier on, your works, not just your words. This ties in to us as co-creators. Remember, we said that we are a co-creator of our own reality as an individual, and we are also co-creators of our reality as a collective. Now, when we use the word co-creator, we're talking about from our physical to our etheric as an individual, and our physical and as a collective. As we always use this word as synergy. Now, when two or more forces combine to produce an outcome greater than if done individually. So in order for us to be successful as a race of people, what we need to do is work as a collective. That collective is the word they call collective consciousness. Other words they use is like Christ consciousness or divine consciousness. When we come to gather together, and you hear that, bring our minds together as one force, and we start to work and bring things into fruition as a collective. as a sovereign nation. And once we start doing that, then we will gain world respect. Now, I just want to hope, does that answer your question, Samal?
So, just one more thing. So, what we think, correct me if I'm wrong, what we think of all day, that's what we become, what we think of all day long. So, how could we merge our mind's eyes to be collective, as like you were saying?
Right.
Okay.
It's just that simple. We've got an objective. Let's work together for that objective. Just come together. Let me read. I think it's in the Sacred Wisdom of Tahuti, where they see if I can find a particular verse. It talks about how the Etherians. See if I can find it. See how they. I can find that particular verse. Right. Okay, I can't find it. Okay, let's say it from there. It's like this. What they do, what the Etherians do, they come together, they reason things out, then they make a decision based upon their reasoning. Now we know that there is what we call the process of thinking and the process of reasoning. Thinking, in Wu-Sabat, we refer to that as linear or straight line or like a box. When we say reasoning, we talk about in the terms of a circular mental processing, meaning that reasoning is an infinite form of mental processing. When we say thinking, we're talking about a finite form of mental processing. So when people say you should think outside of the box, you heard that expression, think outside of the box, what they're saying in essence is start thinking in an infinite way, because a circle has no beginning, no end. The shape is representative of infinity. You see that figure of 8 shape that they refer to as the infinity symbol? Well, a circle is representative of that sort of mental processing, and thinking is representative of a box which is finite or compressed. So you heard the term think outside the box, which is another way of saying expand your means of perception as well as thinking. And once you can expand your perception or your mental processing, anything and everything that you imagine to do, you will be able to do. So now imagine, go back to imagination again, imagine when we have a group of us, feminines and masculines, coming together, we have a project, we reason it out, then based upon our reasoning, we make a decision that will produce the most fruitful and best results or outcome. This is how Panatharu, the overseers, this is how they proceed. Hope that helps, Amal. Okay. Now, I just want to read, this is an excerpt from the Holy Tablets. This is chapter 1, tablet 1, and it reads, start from verse 8. All ties in. Verse 8 reads, you should know that eventually the time will come when these supreme beings, Anunnaki, would have to descend upon this planet Earth in order to guide the inhabitants towards their home in and beyond the stars. We say Anunnaki, we now know that this is Panatharu, the overseers. Okay, remember the time this was written? There's a journey here. 9. Thereby helping them to become once again the supreme beings of the pure green light, ethereal energy that they once were. Meaning, you transform into an Etherian. That's what the master teacher is here to do. His job here is to transform us into Etherians. But you can read something in a minute. 9. That's it. 9 again. Thereby helping them to become once again the supreme beings of the pure green light, ethereal energy that they once were. Energy beings. Remember they the word energy? Etherians. Okay, ethereal. But first, one must be sent to prepare a way. Patarok. And that one is myself. Parnababi and Anan. 10. And so it was. For once Humims became rulers over the planet Earth, you gradually forgot, suffer from amnesia, that your purpose in life was to gain your way back towards the sustainer, Pa'ut, which would be the token home. But instead, you became engrossed in your own desires. Read that verse 10 again. In this line, it says here, it's very specific here. The master teacher wrote this. And so it was. For once, Humims became rulers over the planet Earth. And that word Humims is pertaining to the feminines. Because we know that Wu-Sabat is the feminine doctrine. 11. While in pursuit of physical gratification and material gains, Humims forgot the purity in which they were formed. 12. As a result, you have strayed from the original ways of the universe and the spiritual path that led you to your true destiny. You hear the word destination in the word destiny. Okay? Universal right knowledge, right wisdom, and the right understanding onto sound right reasoning called Nawapo. We say Nawap or Wu-Sabat. Okay? The sound right reasoning being the highest form of mental processing. Okay, so this is our journey that we should be partaking in. Okay. Any more questions? No questions? Clubhouse, Zoom? Yeah. Oh, you got a question? I could go ahead. It's about to take the mic.
Yeah, the question is, when your higher self conversates with you while you're busy on a physical level.
Yeah.
You've got that voice communicating with you, reminding you of things that you never remembered or things you have to do. What level is that, or what is that?
Your higher self.
Yeah, but what is that? The ethereal you're talking about?
The etheric cue, mental communication. You continue listening to that voice, because that voice
I
is.
haven't got much choice.
Yeah, you do have a choice to listen or not listen, but it's best.
Yeah.
Because let's put it like this: that voice you're hearing is you and your ancestors. It could also depending on the situation, or it could be the higher beings also communicating to you. Hear this though, but it's your higher self, your etheric self, which is your own personal internal navigational system.
Yeah.
Listen to that and you'll always be rightly guided. All you have to do is use your own consciousness or awareness and communicate back. Let me do this, let me do that. I need to. There are many things that can help preempt that, especially like diet and drinking plenty of water.
That is what I do, because that's what
Fantastic.
happens every day, all day long.
That's great.
So once I focus my mind on developing myself spiritually, as well as my image and likeness of God, then the guidance changes. It becomes more clearer, because I do find if I'm not doing the right thing, that spiritual guidance will come in and torment me. So if I decide to listen to music, that music will just randomly play over and over and over and over again till it annoys me.
Yeah.
But when I'm listening to the right music, I don't get that music coming to me to annoy me. So that means that, so I know I'm listening to the right music or the right information, because I don't get bombarded with it, and my emotions are not controlled to feel depressed over it. Even though that's not what I'm thinking about. I could be cooking and I'm being guided that I'm listening to the wrong thing, or I'm focused on the wrong thing.
Yeah. They call that in the what do you call it? Quantum physics, quantum mechanics. That they call it synchronicity or alignment. Now, also they also call it quantum entanglement. Quantum entanglement, we did a class on this some time back. But quantum entanglement basically means that you are entangled or in connection with not only your higher self and your ancestors, but your higher self, our higher self, exists in multiple dimensions, as we read earlier on, in multiple dimensions. That's what they refer to as quantum entanglement. Or another term they use is superposition, until you become conscious of it. So you could, once you become conscious, or you are conscious of your internal navigational system, which is your higher self and your ancestors, how you know that is because you're here. Yeah. You're not here because you just, I don't know, you might be going shopping. Let me see what's going on down here in the shack. No, you're here for, hear this word, a reason. Yeah. You see, there's no such thing as coincidence. Once it's an incident, two incidences which are the same is called co. After that, it becomes a tri-incident. No, it becomes communication. You see, the more you listen to that, the clearer your path would be. Yeah. Not to say it wouldn't be without challenges. However, where there's challenges, there's always opportunities. There's opportunities and there's challenges. The challenges is to strengthen your inner being. You see, so we will always encounter challenges. And here it is. The higher you raise up, or the higher you elevate, the more challenge will come your way. Because no good giving you your arm, you do arm wrestling, you beat the geezer. No good you having to arm wrestle the same geezer you're beating all the time. You get another guy. Move up the weight. I think you may weigh 70 kg. You know,
heavyweight,
yeah. It's like moving up the division. Then you got, what do you call it? What's the ultimate title? The undisputed. That's it. You become undisputed. You see. So you always gain challenges, but the challenges, and these challenges are coming by way of the forces of natural nature, is to strengthen your being to see whether you make the next grade. And then more challenge to make the next grade. This is how it works, you see. So
Doesn't stop.
Never stops.
Yeah.
It never stops.
Do you think you've elevated as well as
Enough.
you or challenged?
Challenge. You see what's it called? Black Panther Challenge Day. It's like that every day. It's a challenge. There comes a point whereby you it's like it becomes a walk in the park. You know, you know, your mind. You now know, bam, it's a higher challenge now. But the challenge you had before was daunting, but you overcome it. So your mind is strengthened for the next challenge. Because you're becoming, for every challenge, you're becoming a stronger person, mentally, physically, and spiritually. This is all in terms of progression, for a purpose. Because your purpose, your purpose may be down the line to be a leader.
Yeah.
But in order for you to lead, you got to lead by way of example, and also you got to have a certain fortitude, a certain mental strength about you for what you may encounter later on. But based upon your experiences, you say, oh yeah, I've experienced that before. You know what I mean? Yeah, tough, hard as nails, mate. So yeah, we all encounter challenges. We all encounter challenges, you know, on a daily basis. Some challenges may be hard, some challenges may be easy, but look at that challenge as a challenge. Just accept it for what it is, you see. And at the same time, like you said, you've got your internal navigational system, you've got that inner voice that's telling you what to do and how to and what not to do. So you will always, or we are always rightly guided. Okay.
Can I ask another question?
Can she ask another question? Okay, probably back to yes. Yeah, you can. Yeah. I need permission first, but go ahead.
Okay, so you said something, I think it was earlier, or might be a different question and answer, but you was talking about the mind can make light bulb blow, or when you got bad energy around you, the light bulbs can flicker or blow. So a thought came to me about my fly killer, saying that basically I was appreciating how long the bulb lasts, and I think I wasn't supposed to keep appreciating it, maybe doubting the quality of it. So what I noticed when I do appreciate electrical things, they blow. A voice will come and then they'll just blow.
Pretty sure. Okay.
So I came from holiday, Caribbean Island, and I looked at the mosquito light and said, okay, let me turn it on, and it just blew. And then I looked at the Xbox and thinking it's mashup. You'd think it wouldn't work, and I think it's lasts so long. I'm surprised it ain't broken and it blew.
Oh.
And then the light started flickering.
Oh.
And then when I went on to Nation of Islam yesterday, the computer kept crashing. And then when I compare what people are saying, what you're teaching in the Bible and the church and the Muslim, it's a lot because there's conflicting viewpoints. So I've already followed the Bible. So it says the Book of Psalms said you must come from among people that don't follow God, because God is not the higher realms don't need you to experience those experiences those people are going to bring to you, because you're not growing, because you already know, you've learned all that lesson already. So the Bible is there to teach you, move you on to the next level. You don't need to learn what's in there already. It's already been done. So what was my point?
Back to the electricity.
Electric.
Bulb, light bulb being blown.
Yeah, they're blowing, and I noticed the weather changes as well on my mood.
Yeah.
So how do and I know I'm supposed to be positive, but yes, that's what it is. It's your teachings and the church and the Nation of Islam teaching. So me having the thoughts now, thinking, okay, let me follow this, let me not follow Nation of Islam. It's like something negative happens. The TV start crashing. It start turning on and off, on and off, on and off. Which I hadn't had that experience for years, because I remember back in 2012, around that time, 13, I had certain people around me. Every time I buy a industrial type iron, which the water tank, it kept blowing. And then leaking out brown water. So I just have to stick to the smaller one.
What's the question?
Yeah, I don't understand, because every heater I bought, it would blow after a month. And then I'd buy a different brand, and that would blow, and it just kept blowing. I don't know what I stopped doing. I think I stopped going around having those people around me.
Yeah.
I think I went to church and got baptized. My heater don't blow no more.
Oh, okay.
But it's only because you mentioned something about light flickering, because I've had that experience before. But it's like a thought is put there to me first for me to think of it. It's like it wants me to acknowledge that the light bulb is only going to blow, or because of an external agent is not just blowing because of it's worn out. Because I buy the energy probes that can last like 5 years or something like that.
So you say that because
So I wanted to know what, because you did mention something about when electric blows, you got to burn sage or something like that, or you meant that it was, I think it's last week they were mentioning something to do with electric blowing
could be another
and light.
brother. Okay, could be another brother.
Yeah, because they said that this week, I think you said that Saturdays are recapping on what you did the following week, but I'm not sure if it was a Saturday they had that conversation.
I couldn't listen to last week.
What realm would that be anyway for that to happen? Is that when you're talking about spiritual or Etheric
Yeah,
to
what
make electric blow and stuff like that?
okay, yeah, what the master said is that above the physical realm, we have the plane of force. The plane of force is like the etheric duplicates or astral duplicates of the physical plane. But within the physical plane, we have solid, liquid, and gas. But we also have 4 higher subplanes of the physical, which scientists, which is unknown to science, but Panababi Anand explains it as ultra gaseous matter, light ether, life ether, and mental reflecting. We talked about that earlier on. And these are like higher subplanes of the that's it, yeah, we've got ultra gaseous matter, life ether, light ether, and mental reflecting. These are higher planes of the physical plane. We're not even talking about the plane of force or the spiritual plane, you see. So it could be that you are, well, you do have, it seems like, I don't know if you're trying to say that it's because of yourself, is that you say that? You think that
it's not me, it's that the thought's not mine, it's like it's put there for me to think of.
okay,
So I'm forced to think of that, even though
yeah,
and then that happens.
so I can't really explain those phenomena. So
It's thought projection. I don't know why the thought projection has been put there,
okay,
but it was negative. I don't know if I'm not supposed to think of not think of things. It's not even me thinking of it though. I don't know.
when the brother mentioned about, when it was mentioned to you to burn sage, the sage really is, to clear the atmosphere, those energies, those if you're experiencing negative energies, the sage will help clear that. And not only negative energies, but what sage will do, will just clear the energy, so now you could imprint, it's like you got clean canvas or clean whiteboard, so now you could imprint positive images or messages onto that board or onto your environment, because the environment that we're in, right, has an invisible fluid that we can imprint thoughts on, or we can extract thoughts that's within this invisible fluid, you see. Now, going back to religion, Christianity, Judaism, and Islamism or Mohammedanism, what in essence they are Egyptian teachings of the Egyptian mystery system. Because remember that Moses was reared in Egypt, so he got Egyptian teachings.
Yeah.
Jesus was reared in Egypt, so he was teaching the people the Egyptian mystery system. Muhammad, his last wife was an Egyptian, you see. But down the line, it got watered down. See, Jesus himself, he said this the last time, that you have to read the Bible closely, and you'll find that that is what he was teaching the people, but they weren't ready for what he was teaching them. Why? Because he was teaching them during an era of time when they were in the moon cycle or the Piscean cycle. They were not in the sun cycle or the age of Aquarius. People for that day and time weren't ready for what he had to teach. That's why he said in John 14, I will send another comforter. Because I have many things to say unto you, but you're not ready for it. Howbeit, I'll send another comforter, and that other comforter to help them, or wasn't, because he was like the last hope for the children of Israel. Then the covenant was passed from the children of Israel to the children of Ishmael. So Muhammad was from the line of Ishmael by way of Kedar. However, they still weren't ready for that teaching. So you had many guys to help the Negroid race to transition until this day and time. You see, so the God, what in religion, the God or the Allah or the Yahweh or the Elohim that is being referenced to in those religious institutions is the individual. Because each and every one of us are, for lack of a better word, God in human form. Because in John 10:34 it says, is it not written in, Jesus said in John 10:34, is it not written in your law, I said ye are gods?
Yeah.
Which is coming from Psalms 82:6. All of ye are gods, sons and daughters of the Most High. I read that again. All of ye are God's sons and daughters of the Most High, El Elyon. The operative word I'm using there is daughters. So God is not just a male, it's also a female. If you go to Exodus 7:1, it says, and the Yahweh, the Lord, said unto Moses, see, I've made you an Elohim, which is God. And Aaron, thy brother, shall be the prophet, and talk to Pharaoh. So Moses himself couldn't talk to the Pharaoh as a mortal. He had to be initiated into becoming an Elohim. And if you going back now to go back to Genesis chapter 1 verse 26, it reads, and God said, what is Elohim said, let us make man, Adamah, in our image, look like God, and after our likeness, act like God. And let them have dominion, rulership of the bird of the air, fowl of the land, fish of the sea, etc., etc. So according to Genesis chapter 1, verse 26, man, when I say the word is, when I say man, not talking about man as in male, I'm talking about man as in female. Let them because they were made in image and likeness after God, or Elohim as they put it. And you go to Genesis, I think it's about chapter 3, verse could be about 22, Genesis 3:22, about 3:22. It says, and God said, behold, the man has become like one of us to know good and evil. But who's the us in Genesis chapter 1:26 says that God said, let us make man in our image and after likeness. Then going to, in the same Genesis chapter 3, I think it's around about verse 3, the serpent.
Who is the hour?
Yeah.
The hour is more than one.
Yeah, our is the Elohim or the gods. Said, behold, the man become like one of us. You know what I mean? To know good and evil. So that us means in that. So going to Genesis, right about same Genesis chapter 3, right about verse 3, where it says, now the story is where the serpent went to Eve, made her eat of the apple as they put it, and the serpent started questioning Eve and said, did Lord God say that you shouldn't eat this, you shouldn't eat the apple, etc., etc.? And he says, the woman says, the God said we shouldn't eat thereof, shouldn't look at it, shouldn't touch it, because the day that we eat thereof, we shall become as God. No, the day we eat thereof, we shall surely die. And the serpent said unto the woman, you're not going to die, for God does know that the day you eat thereof, ye shall be like God, knowing good and evil. When they ate the apple, did they die? No. They transformed into deity. How you know that? Because Genesis 3:22 says, behold, the man has become like one of us. Meaning Adam and Eve became deities, became gods. You see? So really, the God that is being taught about in the Bible is not really how it's been taught is incorrect, because each is really an acknowledgement that each and every one of us are deities, are gods. Not, and there was Christians would say to you, oh, but you can't create another human being, you never create yourself. Hear this though. You as a human being have a partner, male. You come together and you can produce a child. Did you create the child? with the help of the forces of nature.
Yeah.
Yeah. So that means then that each and every one of us was created by way of our parents, making our parents our personal gods, and the forces of nature our impersonal creators. So our mother and father are our creators. And there's no getting around that. Because as the cliche or the axiom is in the Egyptian mysticism, as above, so below, we have been endowed with those creative abilities and capabilities, especially you, the feminine. Because when the male sperm fuses with the egg, it goes into your womb, and you are the ones who start adding on the blood and the flesh and the bones, etc., etc. So the real creators will be you, the feminine, with the help of the male. But hey, this though, take to the next level now. But in the beginning, you never needed a male, because it's a word called parthenogenesis, which means you had the ability to procreate without the aid of a male due to a gland that you have in your body called the Bartholin gland. And religious people have no way getting around that, because it's inside of you called the Bartholin gland.
Okay.
See? So, are you a goddess?
Yes.
And all other sisters or feminines, are they goddess?
They are.
But man, what's the man then? He's just a
He's a god.
hunter-gatherer? That's the reality of it. That is the reality of it. Whether they want to act, you know, with our religious brothers and sisters, you know, it takes time. It takes time to wake them up. But that is the teachings coming from their Jesus, and they're coming in the Bible. I mean, got the young master in the back. Oh, no, Pastor Mike to the young. Any questions? Oh, question. Oh, I got a question. You on the way? Okay. Yeah. Go ahead. Any questions on Clubhouse?
Sure. So Wu-Sabat is changing our minds, correct? So should we be feeling comfortable in doing what we do every day, like going to work? Because we're talking about Etherians and the mindset of an Etherian and how we're meant to be conducting ourselves. So I don't feel comfortable with this environment and where we are at now. So what? So basically, Wu-Sabat, you have to give everything back, literally, and you shouldn't feel. Should I feel comfortable dressing the way? Because I don't feel comfortable dressing the way I dress in this system. But sometimes it's hard living in the West. So how's the best way to navigate on a day-to-day basis? Because like we're all gonna come off this call now. How would the Savior think and come off this call? Like we should be chanting at 9 and things like that. So is it kind of incorporating and learning as much as we can and put it into practice and action in the light as well as out of the light?
Right. Yes. We are where we are, but that's where we are where we are because that's where that is where we place ourselves to be. Now, if we are in an environment that we feel uncomfortable, then sound right reasoning teaches us that we should make the environment that is as conducive as we can. Because we are where we are because that's where we're meant to be. Now, it's true that we meant to be working for self and kind. So if you are in an environment, a working environment, working for the man, be the best individual that you can within that working environment. And if you aspire to do greater things or to leave that working environment and work for yourself or work for another Nagardanado or Negroid, then by all means go for it. Obviously, if you don't like to wear Western clothing, as an example, don't like wearing the garbs, then when you finish work, because you have to wear a uniform, then wear the uniform, but know when to take off the uniform. And if you're happy wearing garbs, then wear your Sabian garbs. Obviously you don't wear the full attire 24/7. Crowd everything when you walk. Well, no, you may want to. But yeah, we are where we are because that's where we're meant to be. Now, if you are in a working environment, with the informational, with the knowledge that we have been given by way of the master, we are obligated to teach, our fellow co-workers. We are obligated to teach, spread a little, obviously you have to look at the environment and say, and obviously, like I do the same thing at work. Don't give them too much. Just give them enough because it can be overwhelming. When we say overwhelming, what we mean by that is how we speak amongst each other. We speak in a certain way, and we think it's natural that when we talk to other people that they understand what we're saying, and they don't. Not everyone understands our vernacular or terminology or words or concepts that we are teaching. So when I am at work, before I do a class, I give like a trailer, or what do you call it, YouTube shorts at work, to see if they can pick up what I'm saying. I look at their facial expression and I see, oh, this is a bit too much, too heavy, or did I understand? I'll kind of dilute it. Then rather than say the word Etheric, I would say spiritual being, and oh, they get it now. So when I come to class, I know that let me try and dilute it as much as I can. However, at the same time, rather than keep on using the spiritual being, you want to elevate the minds of the people. I say Etherian. Or even at work, I'll say Etherian, but say to them, well, when I say Etherian, I mean the spiritual being, and say the word. And at work, they're actually getting it. It's really good to hear at work when I'm speaking to people at work how they do use the terminology. I said, it's getting through. Maybe one word, 2 words. When I hear them talk about, so the master, I said, they're getting it. Little words like this lets you know it's getting through. It's getting through. It's getting through. You see. So I hope that helps, Zamal, in answering your question. You're well done. And the young master, go ahead. Got someone in the house. Go ahead.
With the gland that you was talking about, where women were able to create babies by themselves, is that the same gland that allows women to create babies from bone marrow?
Bone marrow. No, there isn't a gland that allows a woman to create babies from bone marrow. What the bone marrow does is where it supplies the blood.
Mm-hmm.
The blood comes from the bone marrow. But the gland was called the Bartholin gland.
Mm-hmm.
The master teacher says it's between the vaginal orifice at the size of the vagina. It was once active, but it has been maimed.
Mm-hmm.
So that means then, in essence, that in this day and time, that gland will be reactivated in the feminines. There are many glands. We only know of the barotheric gland, and we only know of the Bartholin gland in the male. It's called the bulbourethral gland in the male. But in the Bartholin gland, the master teacher explained that gland secreted a seminal type or like fluid, like the semen of a male. And that gland gave a female the ability to reproduce without the aid of a male. The word they use is called parthenogenesis. But they deliberately try to underplay that and say, no, females cannot create without the aid of a male. The brother with the white t-shirt on. Oh, sorry, one brother. Oh, go ahead.
Why is it important that the young children learn this type of information? Like, why do they need to know
All right, yeah. The good operative word there is know. They need to know, because this is our spiritual science, and hear this word, universal knowledge. This is our stuff constructed by us, for us, and this is really basic information. Well, if you cut out, you might cut out on Zoom. Yeah, so this is cut out. We've got 2 minutes left. Yeah, so yeah, this is how we taught our children. We taught them this right knowledge. You see, this is how the information that we're taught from kindergarten right up to university is just that, information, to keep you in formation. So just because, do you hear what I'm saying? To keep you in formation, to keep you in the box until you reach the point whereby a person could come out of university and still be more dumber than the guy who hasn't even been educated. The street man, the master teacher says like this, the street man can be more
Intellectual.
intellectual, is that the right word to use, than an individual he's got all the degrees and all these names. I'm not saying that a person should not. Oh, they can't hear us. I can't forget. Okay, yeah. Sorry if you got cut off briefly. Yeah. So yeah, go back to your questions, Amal. Yeah, this is hear this word. Outformation that we meant to teach our children, you know, and for example, going back to that Jesus quote, whereby at the age of 12 or 13, he came out of Egypt being waxed wise, full of wisdom. He never learned that when he was in Israel, or no, he wasn't in Israel because he was a little kid, wasn't he? So remember, and Moses, he was taught the Egyptian mystery system, and what the master teacher is teaching us is the Egyptian mystery system. Hear this now. All those secret societies, all that man then going back way back. This is what they read the emerald tablets, the sacred wisdom of Tahuti. What you got here, they call it the Hermetic principles or the Kabbalion. They read that, and all this is what they're teaching, and they're paying people. People are paying them hundreds of dollars to come and listen to lectures that the master gives for free, based upon our knowledge. I was about to say,
What's it going to do for you, though? So if a child learns it, what's it going to do for them?
no, oh yeah, it was going to elevate their minds. Their minds, they'll now be thinking on a different level. And it's more pertinent now that we're in the sun cycle than, or the age of Aquarius, the Aquarian era. They'll be able to process this information much more than we can. And it will expand their mind, because they are our future. They won't be thinking like the children right now don't even think like how we thought, or how we thought. But this right knowledge will expand their minds even greater. You teach them the basics of right knowledge, and they will be questioning their teachers, but you got to teach them the wisdom. Teach your children the wisdom, because a child could question the teacher, and the teacher won't be able to give them a coherent answer. They'll make things up. So yes, there's no higher information. There's no higher outformation than nine ether. Well, there is, but yeah. Okay, let's put it in the master's words. All he's teaching us right now is to prepare us for more transcendent concepts. Next level. That's why we say that in Wu-Sabat, the master teacher, we says it before we go. A couple more minutes before we go. I just want to read an excerpt again from the Science of Creation.
You had Sheldon with his hand up for a long time.
Oh, Sheldon.
I don't anymore, so.
You still there, Sheldon?
Yeah, I'm still there. You're right.
Go ahead, Sheldon. Sorry to keep you waiting. Sheldon? We can't hear you properly, Zamal.
And I just recently started to think classes again. So when you do think class, let me repeat that. Can you hear me now?
Go ahead. Yeah, we can hear you now. That's it.
Can you hear me now?
Yeah, we can hear you.
1 second. Oh, okay. Yeah. Am I back now? Sorry. I just have to take out my headphones quickly. Yeah.
You can't hear you again, Zamal.
That
Yeah.
usually would lower your vibration. Okay. Never mind. I could ask the question another time on a Tuesday because my connection must be really bad right now. I'm outside.
Oh, okay then, Zamal.
That's fine. Don't worry.
Okay, no problem. Thanks for trying.
Sure.
Just before we...
He had one quick question.
Go ahead.
What's transcending concepts?
Oh yeah, transcendent concept is those concepts or those teachings that is not within the norm. Those teachings that you're not taught on a regular basis or you're not taught at school. These are next level teachings. What we mean by that is this. It's what, before we go, say this now. It's what the master teacher says here. This comes from this scroll here. The science of creation. Mash up in it. Page 4, it reads this. Your information is limited. Your space, we read this earlier on. Your information is limited. Your space is limited. And your time is limited. You're trapped within a vacuum where everything must be defined in the category of person, place, or thing. You can't even think of a number greater than the number 9. Therefore, in trying to explain everything in the universe to you, I will have to try and to put them into terms or within these categories that you understand, and in the process take away from what I'm trying to explain to you. Hear that? So basically everything that we've been taught has been placed into a box or their trial of person, place and things. So the master wants to teach us things that are not within the category of person, places, and or things. And what he wants to teach us is that is not in those categories is what he referred to as transcendent concepts. That knowledge that is outside of person, place, and things. That's what he refers to as transcendent concepts. Okay, that makes sense. Okay,
Thank you.
you're welcome.
Do you have an example of that?
A transcendent concept.
That's outside of persons, places, and things.
An example would be, how do you describe a shape that is outside of a circle, square, and a triangle? What we have to do is we have to...
What do you mean outside of a circle, square, and triangle?
The reason I say that is because all shapes are coming from a circle, a square, and a triangle. But there are shapes that are outside of that. How do you explain that? There are colors that are outside of the visible spectrum. How do you explain that? How do you explain a color that humans have not seen before?
You just ain't seen it before.
Yeah.
They don't know everything.
Yeah, but I'm saying, the master, there are colors that are outside of the visible spectrum. What we see, huh?
Such as ultraviolet and infrared.
Like even beyond that, you know what I mean? You know, so you can't explain that to people unless the only way that can be explained is if that individual is in a dream state, or their consciousness or their third eye has been opened, so they'll be able to see interdimensionally. So our physical eyes is limited to person, places, and things, solid, liquid, and gas. But in order for us to see beyond that, we got to, our vision, our consciousness, or states of awareness, or comprehension has to be widened. See, which will happen in time. Okay, maybe even experience it. The most optimum time for us to experience that should be during the dream state. Because when we're dreaming, we're outside of this three-dimensional realm. You see.
If you don't dream,
Oh, you're cut off. You're cut off. Let's keep it real. You're cut off. Person can't dream. Person don't.
might be the state of peace.
Yeah, they dream. Because when you say dreaming, you talk about.
Not dreaming in state of peace.
But
Your brain's resting.
yeah. There's a thing called meditation where it's called transcendental. They transcend those states and they receive impressions from the higher planes. But here it is. When you receive impressions, meaning your things are impressed upon your mind's eye once you are asleep. So you're still visualizing, but not with your two physical eyes, but with your mind's eye in that dream state. We do it every time you go to sleep in your dream because your eyes are closed, it's in darkness, yet you're still seeing. How are you seeing? With that, fam, unfortunately, the landlord says that he gave us the time out. We've overstayed our welcome. We are on extra time. With that, fam, we'd like to say once again, we thank you all for taking the time out to come to these classes, because without you, there will be no class. Well, each one teach one. We learn as much from yourselves as we do, as you do from ourselves. Fam, until the next time, let me quickly say that, until the next time, I'd like to say, Wadu. Farewell.